F is for Family is back, and as always, Bill Burr and his team are back to dish out more retro family dysfunction. If you watched the series or my recap, you're up to speed on how last season the series dealt with Sue and Frank's new dynamic, their marital issues, and their plans for the future, which included returning to school. Of course, true to Murphy's Law, what can go wrong did go wrong, and the Murphy family has another kiddo on the way. So, where does that take us in Season 3? I'm Chris Carr, and this is Nerdflix and Chill, here to give you the scoop before you binge.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this review will have two parts. This first half is spoiler-free, so you can watch it without any worry. Before I begin, I'll let you know when I'm going to give away some really important plot points in the second half. So let's do this!
And guess what? We're having a baby.
Oh, really? Well, I gotta go.
With the latest pregnancy throwing a wrench in their plans, Frank tries to craft the perfect summer to keep Sue happy and stay optimistic about their futures. That obviously doesn't work out, starting with Kevin screwing up their plans of spending the summer on the lake by having to attend summer school. At the beginning of the season, we're set up for everyone getting served up heaps of disappointment. Sue is trying to come up with another once-in-a-lifetime brilliant invention before she gives birth to a fourth baby.
I should finish it now.
No, honey, sit down, sit down.
I didn't finish the wallpaper. I didn't finish college. I never finish anything.
Kevin quits his band over artistic differences and gets in with a new group of friends from summer school. Bill is determined to make Bridget Fitzsimmons his, and Maureen is dealing with being a bright girl who wants to be noticed.
So there you go. See? It's math.
That's not how the transitive property in math works, Dad.
Shh, honey. It's a holiday. Take the day off.
The show leans into what it's great at, being an incredibly realistic look at a time when child endangerment was something only a wuss worried about. CPS ain't coming for none of these kids. The main story we follow this season is the relationship of Frank and Sue, and how the two are continuing to try to find balance. Despite being pregnant, Sue is determined to finish something. She will not let another pregnancy stand in the way of her hopes and dreams, and becomes singularly focused on her invention for most of the season. That is, until she begins to doubt just how nice of a guy their neighbor, and Frank's new best bud, Chet, appears to be.
Yeah, I never seen an elephant get put down before. I wonder who gets that ivory. Chet Stevenson.
Frank Murphy.
Frank finds a real bro in Chet. They're both Air Force vets, well, kind of, with Frank having been in the reserves, and Chet always talks Frank's experience up. Chet makes Frank feel heard, is always ready to offer him a cold one, and seems like the sort of helpful, fun buddy Frank could really use while trying to stay cool for his family. As always, Dern and Burr deliver. Their performances are incredibly understated and nuanced. They crush it.
I'm giving you a $100 fine for littering.
$100? That's a semester of college.
Who I was really impressed with, though, was new cast member Vince Vaughn. His interpretation of Chet is outstanding, and he does some solid voice and dialect work. Honestly, if I didn't know it was him, I'd be hard-pressed to tell you that The Wedding Crasher was providing the vocals.
That's my plane. Want to take a spin?
If I didn't go to hell for loving a man, I'd kiss you. Jesus Christ. This is my dream come true.
You ready to go fast?
We're going slow?
You tell me!
I really feel like the show leans in more to the blink and you'll miss it background gags, like the priest putting a deviled egg in his pocket, or how Goomer is particularly creepy and weird this season. The writers seem to be running with more absurd bits, and I am here for it. I definitely recommend viewers watch this at least twice, just so they can catch everything that's going on in the background. While I feel a lot of Maureen's storyline is throwaway, the boys have some really interesting storylines this year. We see Kevin struggling to find his place as he wanders aimlessly through his teens, angry at everyone, and Bill tries to figure out the ins and outs of first love and changing hormones. Bill's stuff kept me laughing, and I really enjoyed his insane little crush Bridget. Y'all thought Jimmy was tough? Just wait for his kid sister.
Oh, your fist, old man.
She scares me, Dad. She scares me right proper.
For fans of the show, Season 3 showcases what F is for Family does best, diving into the absurdity of life in the 70s and tackling the sexual politics of the time in a satirical way. I definitely think the show relies a bit too heavily on pulling out the rug during emotional moments. I know that's what most fans really enjoy about the show. I'll explain why in this next half why I feel that way. Gotta say though, overall, you won't be disappointed in this latest Murphy family adventure. Alright y'all, now we come to the spoiler section. So, if you don't want me to give anything away in the series, here's your chance to walk away. Earlier, I mentioned Chet, and I'd love to talk more about that character's journey. After a few episodes, Chet starts to show how truly unhinged he is, but you want him to keep it together because he's such a good friend, in his own way to Frank. A way that Frank loves. Belittling people, chesting up, and drinking. You learn along the way that he's possibly a philanderer, a womanizer, and he seems to just try to be well-liked by his male peers, constantly calling other people heroes and telling them what they want to hear, while talking down to any woman he comes across. This all might not sound too bad given the 1970s time frame, He definitely falls into that horrible category of being one of the guys. But in the episode Battle of the Sexes, we learn that he's incredibly abusive towards his wife Win-Win, treating her more like a slave than a spouse.
I was just making jokes.
Yeah, and that was the joke. Chet, make me dinner tomorrow. Don't you ever speak to me like that again.
I'm sorry.
I didn't pull you out of a burning hole to have you disrespect a superior officer. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, sir.
You got yourself the usual. No going outside tomorrow, shine my shoes in the garage,
Okay.
and there will be no TV.
No! You monster!
Vaughn honestly gives such a powerhouse performance. He switches between the guy you definitely want to have a beer with and the guy you never want to be alone with seamlessly. Sue calls out Chet's behavior, which he doesn't care for, but is even more insulted by Frank standing by his wife and taking her side. Ultimately, Chet shows his true colors when he builds the Murphys a baby room, only to anonymously report the addition to the city and get Frank fined for having the structure in the first place. Chet's crazy, y'all.
He's just standing in the middle of the street.
What a sadistic piece of
Ultimately, and huge spoiler here, we learn that sweet little Win-Win was slowly but surely taking Chet out.
I was changing Chet a little bit at a time, but tonight I got tired of waiting and poured in the whole bottle. I told you, Sue, I'm a survivor.
I loved this storyline. Frankly, it blew me away and was, for me, the most interesting thing the series has done to date. Now, this sort of gaslighting, abusive Alfred Hitchcock's Rebecca storyline may sound bizarre to include in an animated series, but that's where I think F is for Family really shines. It isn't a laugh-a-minute series. It's grounded, dark, and shows the harsh realities that can happen in life. It's like King of the Hill if it didn't take its antidepressants. My biggest criticism, however, is that the characters, while very grounded, don't ever seem to grow. Sure, they reconnect, they reconcile, but they ultimately stay the same. Vic jumps right back into drugs, and while his particular style of drug use makes for some hilarious bits and circumstances, he was just back to where he was.
Gotta keep running. The demons are gaining on me.
Another example is when Frank is telling a heartbreaking story about his relationship with his dad, and Kevin falls asleep while Frank is pouring his heart out.
I told myself right then and there that I would never be like him. I guess it really hurts me to think that you look at me like...
I know it's for a gag, but it's a gag the show relies on. We see this again when Bill is praying to God for help. He gets it, but then everything goes pear-shaped. I get the comedic payoff, but sometimes I want the emotional one, and I want the family to connect and grow, and that's something they'll need to do if they want the show to move forward. We get a taste of this in episode 10 when Bill loses it on his parents. Seasons to come will show us if they truly explore a change in the family and Murphy parenting style. Sue promises they'll remember that being parents is their most important job. Time will tell if they adhere to that, or slip back into their old rhythm. The big bomb at the end of the season, of course, is that Frank's father is coming to visit.
How about Christmas of '69?
69.
Why is that funny?
Y'all ever
Oh, no.
Frank, what is it?
Coming on the 30th? This can't be.
We've been hearing a lot about Frank's unresolved issues with his father, so I'm sure season 4 will be filled with us seeing a very different Frank when he's around his old man. I'm hoping we get some flashbacks to his youth, and that being around the guy he doesn't want to be keeps him working hard to be a better parent and partner. So I highly recommend you give F is for Family Season 3 a watch this weekend. It definitely has room to grow, but it's a strong third season, and will 100% make you feel better about your own family dynamic. At least I hope so. God help you if you think the Murphys are functional. Now let me know in the comments what you think of the latest season, what you hope happens with Frank's dad, and all your other F is for Family thoughts. Like, subscribe, be sure to hit that bell. Until next time, remember all things in moderation, except your shows.